Hi, this is Cal Ripken Jr., and you're listening to the ML Sports Platter.
The ML Sports Platter back with you all over the major platforms like Spotify, Google, Apple, Stitcher, Deezer, and anywhere else you get your podcasts on your smartphone device. We are presented by Stanley Law Offices, Ken's Auto Detailing, Camilla's Golf Club, and our great, great friend Heather Saxton. Make sure that you go with Heather today if you're buying and selling a home in central New York. It can be super stressful, super time consuming, but she makes it easy because she makes home more than just a place. She makes it a feeling. Heather Saxton, call her today, 315-727-3313, part of the Hunt Real Estate umbrella. Heather at Hunt on Facebook. That's Heather at Hunt. And of course, she is a licensed real estate salesperson. Heather Saxton, the official real estate agent of the ML Sports Platter. Well, it's all over the place in theaters right now. It is called 12 Mighty Orphans. You got to go see it. It's a tremendous, tremendous story. A sports and history movie and set in the Great Depression, haunted by his mysterious past. A devoted high school football coach leads a scrawny team of orphans to the state championship during the Great Depression and inspires a broken nation along the way. Let's talk to the director and co-writer, Ty Roberts, along with the co-writer and cast member, Lane Garrison. Can't wait to have this discussion, learn more about the movie. Again, it's all over theaters right now where you go see movies. How are you folks? Thanks so much for a few minutes.
We're doing great, Michael. Thanks for having us.
Let's start
Thanks,
with...
buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's start with first just... for my listeners who aren't aware of the backbone of this story, kind of a two-parter to start. How did the movie come to fruition, and what's the backbone behind the story?
Well, I'll start with how it came to fruition because, my producer and partner, Houston Hill, gave me the book, 12 Mighty Orphans by Jim Dent. And I had heard of it, but I had not sat down and read it. And, once I dug into it and sort of learned about Rusty Russell and who he was as a man and a coach and a teacher and a husband and a father, it sort of reflected on, what I strove to be as a filmmaker and a dad and just a good person in life. He left a top tier program in Texas at Temple High School to kind of go make a self-sacrifice for he and his family and go to the orphanage that was sort of coming out of the late 20s and a really tough time in America, and where there were record numbers of orphans on the streets. And he dedicated his life to that institution for 16 years and gave back to the community and turned just countless kids' lives around. And I just thought that was so admirable. For me as a father with a couple of young kids and, just always continually trying to do, good things and be a part of the community and all that, I thought it was super cool and just someone we needed to memorialize and honor and get that movie out there because it was not only a great sports film, but I thought it was just a real kind tale of humanity, and we certainly need that right now.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
Are you there?
Yep, I am. So I wanted to get into some of the characters in the film. Can you guys kind of break down who's in it, who has the most impact, and kind of go from there? Lane, maybe you could jump in here a little bit as you're one of the cast members of playing a character.
Sure.
Can you kind of go through some of the people you're working with, the actors and actresses in this film, and of course who they play and the impactful figures along the way here in the movie?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Lane Garrison, Ty's co-conspirator, co-writer. We wrote the script together, and Ty and I had done our last movie together, The Iron Orchard, and we just hit it off, and so I feel very blessed to be working with him again. He's just a true visionary and an amazing man and director, and so I played another part in this film as well. I play Luther Scarborough, who is the rival to the Orphans, and he was the head coach at Polytechnic High, which was a mile away from the orphanage. He was at least portrayed in the film, I'm not a very likable guy. In fact, I'm getting a lot of messages from people saying, "You were amazing, but I hate you. You're now the most hated man in film." Because he got the Orphans basically, I don't want to spoil it, but kicked out of football and did a lot of sinister things. So I'm an antagonist in the film, but really this is Rusty Russell's story, and that's played by Luke Wilson. And this is the best film, I'll go on record saying, that he has ever done. And he will back me up and agree with that. He is absolutely fantastic, Jimmy Stewart-esque, amazing in this movie. And people are blown away by his performance. His wife is played, Juanita Russell, is played by Vanessa Shaw, who's fantastic. Wayne Knight, Newman, so to say, plays an antagonist. He plays Frank Wynn. Who else we got, Ty? We've got some wonderful, wonderful orphans. Hardy Brown, played by Jake Austin Walker. And Leonard Snoggs Roach is played by Jacob Laughlin, the kid from Mud. Levi Dillon is Bob Dylan's grandson's in the movie. There's another kid named Slade Monroe, breakout star. Wow. 9 out of the 12 kids we cast were local talent. And, from all the reviews and things we've seen, people are raving about these kids' performance, and we're there too. But we've also got Martin Sheen, who plays Doc, Rusty's sidekick and assistant coach. And he's just so lovable in this film and amazing. And he portrays the real-life Doc who worked at the orphanage for nearly 40 years and never took a paycheck. And these kids all looked at him like a father figure. And Martin Sheen, he's as nice of a man as you could ever imagine, on and off screen. And then we've got a great character being played by Robert Duvall, the one and only. Ron White, the comedian, plays the sheriff. And we've just got, it's just a fantastic cast. I mean, every single character is amazing. And I know I keep using that word over and over again. And usually I've done multiple films and I don't talk them all up. I'll tell my family, like, "Oh man, this is a dud. I just did this film so I can pay the bills." And this one's different. This one is very special. I'm receiving over 100 messages a day from people, grown men, saying they sobbed in front of their children, grandparents blown away. It doesn't matter. It's all ages film. This isn't just a football movie. You will laugh, you will cry, you will be inspired. And that's because the performances and the story are all done so well. And that's thanks to my partner here, Ty Roberts, who is just a fantastic director. And now it's been a joy to get to do 2 films with him and watch him work, and his humility and his grace and his ability to tell a story. But I just really hope people get out there and get in the theater, because this is the type of movie coming off a pandemic that you want to see and walk out feeling good and walking out feeling fresh and inspired. And that's what it's doing to audiences across the nation.
That's awesome. 12mightyorphans.com for more information. Go check out the trailer. All over major platforms, including YouTube, you name it. It's in theaters everywhere where you go see movies. You brought up Martin Sheen and Robert Duvall. I mean, 2 just iconic, figures in the movie industry. What have you both learned from those 2 guys, and what do you think they've learned from you, especially through 12 Mighty Orphans? If you want to start, Ty, and then follow up with it, Lane.
Yeah, I mean, look, one thing that they both said to me, which really impacted me as a filmmaker, is that they enjoyed themselves so much. And I think that when, Luke came on board and I had a good rapport with Luke, and it was just constantly, discussing the characters and having fun with the characters and just kind of setting the tone for an enjoyable creative process. I think Martin came in and just solidified that. He's such a gracious, kind, funny guy that it just really helped us anchor in the tone there even deeper. And then, once Duvall came out, we were already in our groove. And even though we just had a few small scenes with him, he was so playful and fun with it that, we could just enjoy everything. And to me, putting together your core creative team like that and keeping it enjoyable is the most important aspect of making a movie, because it can be super stressful and it can get out of hand. And I think that, if you're not cognizant of that as a director and don't make changes to make sure that, things are being done that are enjoyable and not destroying the creative process, it really makes a difference in the final product. And ultimately, all these guys just made me look great because I worked with them to a degree, but I also gave them the freedom they wanted and needed to bring these characters to life. And it really shows on screen, especially between Luke and Martin, who just have such a good chemistry and rapport between them. It was really, really wonderful to see them kind of flourish and come up with some of the things that they did that weren't even in the script. They just had a really good time together. And, the scene with Martin and Bob Duvall was really improvised as well. So that was a wonderful, thing to experience as a director. I had to pinch myself watching those guys on set together, and it's been since Apocalypse Now. So pretty special, I'll tell you that.
Well, I'll go on the heels of that. One of our producers, a guy named Michael DeLuca, who anybody in the film community knows. He now is the head of MGM and a 3-time Oscar-nominated producer. I was watching Ty direct Robert Duvall and Martin Sheen in the scene, and it really hadn't dawned on me what was going on, just because I'd been wearing so many hats and bouncing around and having football practice with the boys and running that and then playing Luther. I was all over the place. And DeLuca turned to me and he said, "Are you really taking this in? Do you understand what's happening at this moment right now? These two legends are saying words that you and Ty wrote. You're filming two of the biggest names in all of cinema, and they haven't been together since Apocalypse Now." So for me, that was a reminder to enjoy the process when I'm making a movie. Be so thankful and really take in those moments and enjoy it. And then the other thing to learn from really Martin and being around him so much is that humility is key to all of it. Being humble and gracious. That guy, didn't matter if you were sweeping the floor and you're a janitor picking up after a set, or if you're Luke Wilson. He treated you the same. He looked everybody in the eye. He signed every autograph. He took every photo. He was just an outstanding human being, and it's a way that I want to carry myself in life and when I'm on set going forward. So for me, it was definitely eye-opening and a life lesson. Not that I was ever not humble and gracious guy before, but just the way that he could handle himself and juggle everything was really remarkable. And we're so blessed to have him. He does the voiceover and some narration in the film, and his just voice is iconic. I just loved working with Martin.
So one of the big things, at least from my view, guys, is that this is set in the Great Depression, right? And so there's obviously the orphan element to it, right? And the amazing efforts for these kids, but it's also in the middle of and set in arguably the hardest time our country has ever gone through. So how much more impactful do you think this film is because it's set in that era with helping that cast of kids and what their situation is, right? Because it almost goes hand in hand. How much more impactful do you think it is because it's depression related?
Well, I think everybody can really relate to it right now. It's been one of the hardest years we've endured probably since the Great Depression. And certainly everybody's been a little bit dour and hasn't had the opportunity to get together with friends and family and go to cinemas and do things in groups and communities. And it's just been, it can really, really sap your energy out to a degree. And I think now that we're in such a good position, and the country's doing so much better right now, I think this is just a wonderful parallel to go see and to be able to witness and even see as a reminder that, despite how difficult everything can be at times, when we come together and focus and have a common goal and, really believe in ourselves, and we can do anything. We can pull ourselves up and come out of it on top and just really change the whole narrative. And that's what the boys did in the movie and Rusty Russell did in the movie. And I think we can always use these reminders, despite how cliche it may be. This is a story about kids and high schoolers and folks that don't have anything. And it's like, it's really needs to be memorialized. And it's a great reminder for today on how difficult it's been over the last year. So I think it parallels wonderfully. And of course, we never had any idea we would endure a pandemic and when we set out to make the movie, but I do think it really is a opportune time to share a story like this. A lot of people are going to relate to that.
Yeah, and I think that it doesn't matter how old you are, people are being inspired by it. And, to that degree, it's got a great message for our youth today. I mean, you look at kids, and yes, they were orphans, but orphans back in the 20s and 30s and even 40s were looked at and deemed as if they were convicts. These were total outcasts. They were the unloved and unwanted. And the fact that they were able to inspire a whole nation just shows you what you can do when you believe in yourself, when you believe in others, like Ty said. And it's just really remarkable that this is a true story. And they were able to not only inspire the nation, they inspired President Roosevelt so much that he used to hang a 12 banner from the White House every week when they played.
Really?
And orphans with nothing, with nothing and no parents and no money and not even shoes these kids had, can do that, then all of us, without any excuses, can believe in ourselves and we can get back up and we can rebuild and restart our businesses and economy and we can get out there and fulfill these dreams. And it's just a wonderful message for all ages.
Yeah, no doubt. Did you guys ever get caught up anywhere in the film when you're recording and stand next to Wayne Knight and go, hello, Newman? Did you ever do that to him?
I saw people do that, so I avoided doing it.
Is that right? Yeah. Yeah.
He did it. A funny story about him, we were waiting for cars to pick us up for the premiere. We had this amazing premiere in Fort Worth.
Okay.
And these big SUV vans were pulling up to take cast members, and I was standing with him. And it just so happened that the mail truck pulled up to deliver mail to the hotel. And he looked at me, he goes, "Did y'all get me a mail truck?" He goes, "Is this how I'm arriving to the premiere?" And I just started bursting out. I was like, "Newman, your ride is here."
Yeah.
And he just thought that was so funny.
Isn't that amazing? And two things on him. One, you can't believe when you look back at all the things he's been in. It's hard to believe. I mean, I forget that he was in Rat Race. He was in Space Jam. He, Jurassic Park and all these different roles. And I guess that, and you guys know better than me, that's kind of how, the movie community works. I get it, but it's wild. And I got to tell you, I mean, Seinfeld and the impact of that show and what everybody has done since then, Wayne Knight, I mean, his career it really, really, really has been amazing from that moment. It's really catapulted to a certain extent as an actor. I actually didn't watch Seinfeld when it was in its heyday, when I was going through grade school. I never got into it at all. Up until college, people would just keep telling me, "Man, you're a Yankee guy. You'd love the stuff about Steinbrenner. You'd love the comedy. You'd love the dry humor and the real humor and all this other sort of stuff." And finally, just a few years ago, I finally made the decision. I was about 38 years old or so, and I said, I'm going to go and I'm going to start taping all the Seinfelds. And I got to tell you guys, I'm actually more appreciative of the show way older now than maybe probably, 15, 16 years old. Now I can understand the humor more. I see the impact of all of those actors and actresses where, they went from here. And Wayne Knight's included in that group, really talented.
Super talented. We were very thrilled when he got involved. It was kind of one of those moments where you couldn't believe it. Like, wow, he's really going to come and be a part of this. And, he was just a wonderful guy to work with, too, and just brought a lot to the table and was always prepared and ready and just really a fun, cool guy to get to know during this process.
All right, final thing.
Absolutely. He crushed it as Frank Wynn, by the way.
Yeah. I have no doubt. In closing, if you guys could just give my listeners an idea, and Ty, if you want to start, and Lane follow up, what do you hope at the end of the film? What do you hope people say about this movie?
Well, I just want them to come out of the theater with a little bit more pep in their step and just feeling hopeful and feeling excited to face things again. I mean, this is a story about dreams, and we all know that dreams can often begin in a theater, and it's like, I want folks to be able to feel positive and with an ability in their hope to be able to accomplish what they want to accomplish in their lives. And I think, seeing the movie, I think that really inspires, and I think it really shows you, if you put your head and your heart towards something, you're gonna come out on top, or at least get close to it. They don't necessarily get everything that they want in it either, but I think it's a great time for us to just look at the simple needs in our lives and to feel confident that with hard work we can get there. On the heels of Ty, my wife said something last night, actually, that she said, as all these messages have been coming through and I'm reading her everything and she's listening to my phone calls, she says, Lane, what's amazing about this film is the amount of people that have walked out inspired to do better and to be better human beings, men and women. And it's remarkable to see how positive they're reacting to. But she said something else. She said, you don't even know this right now, but there's some couple in the middle of Iowa watching this film. And because of this film, they've been struggling with adoption. No. They're going to go adopt a child because of this movie. And I thought that was really cool to think about, that somebody's going to watch this film and be so inspired by what those boys did that they're going to go out and help somebody else and help some kid that does need a family. And that to me makes it a success in its own right.
Well, it's incredible, and it's all over theaters where you see your movies. Go check it out. If you haven't seen it just yet, go watch the trailer at 12mightyorphans.com. An all-star cast of actors and actresses in this thing, including Wayne Knight, as mentioned, and Luke Wilson, Martin Sheen, and Robert Duvall. And joining me here on the ML Sports Platter is Lane Garrison, very involved as a co-writer and cast member as well, and a co-writer-director, Ty Roberts. Again, 12mightyorphans.com. Go check out the movie. Go follow the movie all over on social media platforms as well. Ty and Lane, this was incredible. Thank you for coming on. Continued success with the movie, and anything you need down the line, let me know.
Thank you, Michael. Really appreciate it.
The ML Sports Platter brought to you by Liverpool Physical Therapy, Barks and Rec Doggy Daycare, and our great friends at the Vince Aguirre Consulting Group. Log on today to vcgtransforms.com. Become a better leader both personally and professionally. Shout out as well to Welch & Company Jewelers and Sit Mean Sit Syracuse, as well as the support from the Swan and Whitaker families. What an unbelievable interview that was with the co-writer-director Ty Roberts and co-writer cast member Lane Garrison. Go see it, 12 Mighty Orphans, 12mightyorphans.com. You can hit me on Twitter at Mike L. Sports. Thanks for listening to the ML Sports Platter on all the podcast platforms on your smartphone devices. I always tell you, enjoy the games.